Okay, we left over here. We're holding right before Vav, a few lines up, page 210. It's where Vav is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines up. Mashkosar Amad Lailu Rishona. The Ramos says the first night you have to eat a kazayis in the sukkah, regardless whether it's raining or not. The Laila Shniyo, Mikarish Bebesu, Vorach Zman al Yomtiv, V'yochal Sudoso. The second night, what do? You eat in the house. Say Kiddush. Ubsov Hasudi Yochal Kazayis Basukah. V'lo Yivorach Leishe Basukah. He should not say Leif Basukah. V'gam lo Yivorach Shechionu ala Sukkah. Yisum Uzel al Shechionu Shebeirach Balai lo Rishon. Leo Rishon. Ulechatchila tov lahamtin gam balai l'shnei mat ashif sham. Even though it's a sveik yoma, even the second night you should wait a while till it stops raining. Vim ochel bebeso rak sayis b'sof hasuda. Rak kazayis b'sof hasuda basuk mosh kashib kosavnu. V'akach poskusham tzarch lichnos basuk lechol kishir. Dani yosem chabeyo ulevarech leish basukah. He says, if it stops raining, you should go into the sukkah and you should eat the shear. So over here, it's not enough. To be able to say the bracha leisha basukah. Vayin l'kamasim tofresh mem sidamash ksavnu sham binyin zeh. Okay, let's get there. No, he has to eat the kazayis. Once he's going back to eat the kazayis, he should eat a little more than a beya. If he eats the kazayis, it's not enough to say leisha basukah. So he should eat a little bit more to be able to say leisha basukah. That's why he's eating more.
Just a practical question about this. So first night, so that someone has a family, they go in, but they're not hired to be in the sukkah. They're children.
Women or
Women
children.
Or women. So the man goes in, makes kiddush, has a kazayis, comes back in the house.
Continues the meal.
So what about the other people? Because the kids didn't have to come into the sukkah for that.
Did they hear kiddush?
Let's say they didn't, because it's just raining, and the wife, she's not hired to be there.
So you say kiddush for her?
So the person will make a second kiddush.
Second kiddush, right? Say kiddush again. I mean, very often you can say, you can leave, if you have your sukkah right off your house, on your deck or on your patio, you can just keep the door open and they can hear the kiddush. We're talking about...
And you're already yotze, so she's not being yotze the husband. So the husband.
Yeah.
So she could do it herself for the kid.
Yeah, but usually she doesn't have, the husband could do it again for them. No, he's being motzi them. He's being motzi them. It's not a bracha. No, that's if you didn't bench it.
Right. So why when it goes in there, instead of eating kazayis, you might as well eat a kaveh and then you can...
He does. That's what he does say. He does say. He says, "No, you've eaten enough. You've eaten enough in the house to bench. For benching, you've eaten enough. But you're going in there to. But you to be able to say the leisha basukah, you should eat more than a beya. For on a kazayis, it's not enough.
You shouldn't even say that you go and eat the kazayis. You might as well, if you go...
No, he's going to eat the kazayis. That's why he's going. Without eating the kazayis, the man ate enough. He's going to, once you're going to eat the kazayis, eat a little more than beya to be able to say leisha basukah. As long as you're being motzi. Correct. Ha-yoshein v'yardu geshamim balaylo. Right, person was sleeping in the sukkah. Started to rain. V'nichlas to habayis uposka geshamim. He went into the house. We'll see. We're talking about he got into bed. He just not. He walked into the house. Ein matrichen also la'az l'asuk Chovos HaLevavos elo yoshim bebeso achi elo marashachar. He's able to sleep in the house until dawn. 1 second. Let's see, Mishna Berura. Hayoshein yordu gshamim. V'adim sheyoshein b'tchilas lai bebeso machmas gshamim u'posko. Before he went to sleep, already was raining. He went to bed, went to sleep. Middle of the night, it stops raining. Does he have an obligation to leave bed to go into the sukkah? The answer is no. He has no obligation.
If you could do that with the sukkah, why does he have to tell you that the sleep, which is the biggest thing for to get up?
That's only similar, we said, as we said before with the suit. It's only if you began eating, only if you already went into bed. But if he didn't yet go to bed, he just went in the house, put his pajamas on, and our question is, do you go into your bed, do you go into the sukkah? First night, second night. Makes no difference. This we're discussing those any night. Any night, any of the 7 days. See, this is not simple. This touches on what we discussed yesterday. He says others, they question this because since he transported the bedding into the house, it's a tircha. It's too much of an inconvenience to go back out. So let's discuss what we discussed yesterday. The Mishna Berura says, we said that it was raining, went in the house, and he began eating in the house. Even if it stops, he doesn't have to come back. But if you didn't begin eating yet, then he has to go back. Here he says, and the Mechaber says, only if you began sleeping. You were in bed. But if you didn't yet get into bed, then you have to go back in the sukkah. He says others, they take issue with this. It's not simple. That since he already inconvenienced himself by transporting the bedding into the house, even though he didn't lie down yet, he doesn't have to go back. So this is similar we discussed yesterday. He transported the dishes, the cutlery, everything into the house. They hadn't started to eat yet. So it should be the same thing. He says maybe according to them, right? Also, unless you will make a differentiation. So because my difficulty is, so why do they only argue on this? He should have mentioned them earlier. Regarding transferring everything to the house for eating, he didn't cite these two opinions, that they take issue with the Mechaber, right? He's only mentions them regarding sleeping. Why not regarding eating? Yeah, my difficulty. David, yesterday we discussed this, right? So maybe we'll make a differentiation. Even though you move your dishes in the house and everything, it's not the same level of inconvenience when you move bedding into the house and you're ready to go to sleep. Even though you didn't lie down, if you hadn't eaten yet, so you're already in a position, it's okay. A little more inconvenience, a little less inconvenience. Already a person's ready to go to bed and he moved everything to the house. Now all of a sudden he has to go back. It's a different mindset, a different emotional feeling. You understand? So I'm saying, so if we're talking about what we discussed yesterday, a caterer moved everything in. We're not talking about in your house, you moved a few dishes in and now you're moving them out. This is something which is a very serious inconvenience here. It'll delay maybe for a good hour, and plus cost, everything else that goes with it. Could be that's the equivalent of this, that we take the same issue with it. Once you're already moved in, even if you didn't begin eating, it's too much of an inconvenience to go back into the sukkah. Maybe you wouldn't. Because otherwise, why would we make this differentiation here? And he only mentions these opinions only in regard to sleeping, moving the bedding, not in regard to the Suda. So evidently, there must be a difference in the level of mitzvah, of inconvenience. Right? Otherwise, why wasn't it mentioned before? Okay? Person has what they call the shlak. Right? He has the awning, the canopy. He has something to cover the sukkah. Before he realized it was raining, he closed it. And all of a sudden, middle of the night, it stops raining. Does he have to get up and open it? I'm not speaking about going from the house back into the sukkah. So we're talking, you're in the sukkah itself. Do you have an obligation to open up the shlak, the awning? You hear this? He says, at one time, the way you open the shlak, you had to get a ladder, climb on the roof, open it. That's a serious inconvenience. Right? Like we have the awning. How do you pull back the awning? You have a rope. So, relatively speaking, your only inconvenience is you have to get out of bed and pull the rope, right, to pull back the awning. Cites the Bikuri Yaakov. So you see over here, we're distinguishing the degree of tircha. If you have to go on the roof to open up the shlak, that's already too much. But if it's just a question of getting out of bed and pulling the ropes, even though it's a level of inconvenience, for that you should do. That's not called, that tircha is not significant that it should be considered mitzvah.
That defines the sukkah whether you have the top on it or not. So is that really considered a tircha or not? You know what I mean?
We're talking about if you went in your house, you went to bed. You have no obligation to go from your bed back into the sukkah, to move your bedding back into the sukkah, right? Because we said it's too much of an inconvenience. You're in the sukkah. When the shlach is closed, it's like you're not in the sukkah. It's like you're in your bedroom. Now it stops raining. So with a slight degree of effort, you're able to validate the sukkah by opening up the covering. He says that you should do. But if you have to get a ladder and climb on to open it, which you're going to be involved, which is a very serious level of inconvenience, that you don't have to do. I see why it's so difficult.
Because it really is, you're putting the top on there to create the sukkah or not create a sukkah. So I don't really see that as a tircha either way. Because you're not really. Yeah.
What does what you did originally have to do with what you have to do now? I'll ask you a question. I say, lend me $1. Not a problem. Lend me $10,000. I got to think about it. Well, lend me $1. Why don't you lend me $10,000? There's a difference between $1 and $10,000. If you have to pull, you can open the covering with a rope. It's not a big deal. You have to get a ladder, climb up. You're going to be busy for 20 minutes and get yourself wet and everything else. It's a big deal. That's mitzvah. You hear the difference? So mitzvah, you're not obligated. Something which is slightly an inconvenience, a slight inconvenience, that you're obligated to do. That's not mitzvah. For some people, getting out of bed, so evidently that's not called mitzvah. That's not called mitzvah. Latin is shlach. Yeah.
I would have thought that was not once you're out of bed going up the ladder.
Some people can't fall asleep once they get up.
Yeah, but that's not the mitzvah.
Once you're up,
Shlach is the covering. Originally, a shlach meant the covering that covered the sukkah. It means a covering, like a roof covering is called a shlach. No. Like in the old days, it was like two things, and they came down, and they would cover the top of the sukkah. That term shlach was only used regarding the sukkah, because a house has a roof, so you don't need anything to cover the roof. Similar to a tarp. What? Yeah, but it makes a difference in how you experience the sukkahs. Because once, even if you don't have a shlach, even if it stops raining, it can be dripping for the next 2 days. So you potter, and they will say in the olden days, I don't know if you remember, you don't remember, maybe even today in Australia they still have it. They used to use these pussy willows for stach. But they used to use them in Manhattan. And the shul in the backyard had a sukkah, had a shlach, and it could be they would just add every year. So some of those could be 50 years they were still on the sukkah. You walked in that sukkah, and there was a smell. There was a smell like dampness. There was a certain dampness smell for years, and this just accumulated. Okay, so it could be mitzvah. It depends how sensitive you are. If you're very sensitive, you have no obligation to go there. See, there's a whole shayla halacha. It's not simple. When you open a shlach, let's say you have an awning, so there's water that accumulates on top of the awning. When you roll it back, what happens to the water? It goes on the grass. So are you permitted even to open it? Maybe you have to wait a while for it just to naturally roll off or dry, and then you can open it. Right, so most hold that because since the earth is saturated with water, the water that falls afterwards, it doesn't really make a difference. Doesn't make a difference. So therefore you're permitted. First, it's psikresha de lo nichalei. So does that mean to say after it rains, you could take a water can or a hose and you can water the grass? Or you have a cup of water, you could just pour it on the ground? Definitely not. This is because this psikresha de lo nichalei. Right? Yeah, I'm not doing it to water. right? It's inevitable, but I have no interest. So at worst, it's rabbinical. So so we have a right to be lenient, okay? But very often, sometimes you open the shlach. It depends if you have a good warning or not. That actually the sukkah gets wet. You know, you have to wait for the rain to roll off it a little bit, and then you open it. Everything is dry. But the moment it stops, you opening it. You open the awning. The sukkah gets wet. So the person is sleeping. He's going to run. He's going to open what he's going to accomplish, right? He'll be mitzvah. So he should remain sleeping. Stay in bed. Yoshim Bebeso, so the Mechaber says he's permitted, if once he goes to sleep, gets into bed, he could stay in bed until sunrise, until dawn. Even if he awakens. Now he's awake, does he have to go into the sukkah? The answer is no. That's still, you're in midst of sleeping. That's cool. It's the sleep time. What? No, it's no, there's a big deal. You know, here just walking outside. There's a difference. Let's say you just walk, you have to leave your bed, just walk into the sukkah. You left your bed in the sukkah. No, you don't have to get dressed. Your sukkah's on your deck. You're in bed, it stops raining. It's just going into the sukkah, and there's a bed in the sukkah. You have to go from your bed into the other bed. The answer is you have no obligation to the other bed. Yeah, because it's not mitzvah. Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make a difference. Did you hear what this person promised his son a bar mitzvah trip? He's going to be dropped on an island, no communication. They're going to sleep in sleeping bags, and only about 1,000 yards from the polar bears. And they're going to fish, and they're going to have heated socks, and they have to make sure no skin is covered, otherwise they get frostbite. This is it. What about mitzvah? You know, unless you sleep in your bed, you know that. That's mitzvah. It's not mitzvah. What do you mean mitzvah? Unless you have 5-star, that's mitzvah. Anything less than 5-star. Let's say a person has arthritis and he needs a certain bed. Otherwise, he's writhing in pain in the sukkah. You're right. He needs that, and he can't. That mattress he can't transport into the sukkah. So you're right. He doesn't. He has no obligation. Sleep in the sukkah is mitzvah. That person, but a healthy person, where is it as comfortable? It's not as comfortable. Are you in pain? So you're not suffering. It is mitzvah. It is mitzvah. Exactly. Mitzvah is relative to the person. An older person could be mitzvah. A young person not mitzvah. 7 days. 7 days. 7 days. I mean, the Ramos said the leniency is why we don't sleep in the sukkah. You can't be with your wife, or it's too cold, or whatever it may be, right? But if you could to address all these issues, then you're obligated. There's no. The wife has no interest in going to sukkah for whatever reason. Shalom bayis. Well, she should accommodate the husband. She should accommodate. She chooses not to, and the husband cannot in any way convince her. You're right, and he has no obligation. He has no obligation. Yep. To be continued.